Damn right. Hey,
What? Oh,
sweetheart.
what? Oh, sleeping.
Jesus Christ. We're doing a show.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
What are you, stoned right now? Jesus.
You
That was a good bit. I like that. Good gimmick, brother. Good gimmick, brother.
like that? Always gimmicking
I
it out.
do. I do like that. So, we are back, people. We are back for another episode of WrestleShoot. Always having fun just like we do. Chris, somebody asked me a really funny question the other day that I'm going to pass on to you in reference to our intro and us. Who is barbed wire and who is thumbtacks?
I don't know, Beavis.
And I don't give a shit. Let's go ahead. You know what? You know what that bit calls for? This right here. That's right. That was pretty bad. I apologize.
I think we should have crickets playing in the background when you ask that question because, yeah.
Well, we don't have a soundboard anymore. So we got to get a soundboard again and get it. Why are we talking about technical shit on the air? Let's talk about what we're really here for. This is another episode of WrestleShoot. I'm your host, Wild Thing Rob Wild, joined, of course, by the lovely and talented, the wonderfully popular, my hedgerow life mate, Chris Casanova.
High five.
Oh, little bit at work today just was funny. We were all passing around internet memes of Ben Stiller in his Happy Gilmore. Go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. That's just a little insight.
Got it.
So, dude, I'm pretty excited about this. I always love to have these dudes come on and hang out with us. They're both here, so let's just go ahead and hit this. Hell yeah, baby. We got the great ones. Monte and the Pharaoh. Brothers, it's good to have you.
Rob, don't you mean the pariah like you always keep talking about?
Stop saying that.
Yeah, you got me in trouble with that, guy. So, I thought pariah was a good thing.
You didn't get in trouble for that, Michael. And apparently, Chris, you surprised me, but you just stirred the shit. What's going on there, Chris?
Because I'm tired of hearing about it from Rob.
Oh, so Rob
you
is the
say
point
it.
of origin for this. Rob, you do realize that you live in my state. And by the way, I was overjoyed to learn two things this week. Number one, that you don't know what the microphone icon was on Facebook Messenger. I had to explain that to you.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yes,
no. Moving on.
Wait, hold on.
Let's
talk about that.
It's really funny. He's like, bro, you going to come on, man? What's up there, dude? And I was like, I spoke in because I'm working all the time. You know that, Mikey. I'm working all the time. So basically, I just started speaking into the microphone. And he typed back, I don't know how to do the microphone thing. And I was like, look at your microphone icon. Press it. He's like, well, what do you know, motherfucker? What's going on?
Just if I may, really quick before you two rip my fucking guts out here, I was so stoned that I thought I was texting him and forgot we were on Facebook Messenger. I thought we were texting. And I don't, in my text, have the voice memo. I was like, oh, shit. So, carry on with the disembowelment of Rob.
No, that explains everything. You were stoned and you went the wrong way. What are you going to do? I got it.
Listen, Mr. Casanova, I think you're going to have to leave the show after this, man. Wow. I'm in shock. I'm hurt by what I just heard. I'm embarrassed. I'm disgusted, to be honest with you.
Chris is more dignified than this. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I have to say, Rob is really letting me down now.
Rob, this is like I didn't mean for this to be a burial. I apologize. Jesus.
But listen,
I want to be Rob in this high regard, dude. Like Rob was up here, and just in one appearance,
No. Oh,
damn, Rob.
You know what, Monte? I will put your name first on my suicide note tonight.
Hey, listen, Rob, just do me a favor. I hope at your job you're not typing with one finger. Are you one of those guys too?
I got two.
Yeah, it's like up and down, literally like that.
Now, I need to finally address this because this son of a bitch has been busting my balls forever about it. when I was posting the big excited, the first time ever Monte and the Pharaoh were going to appear on WrestleShoot on Facebook, autocorrect changed it to Pariah. And I didn't notice it until Monte sent me a message and went, dude, it's Pharaoh. I said, yeah, I know. What are you talking about? And he goes, dude, check your post. I was like, oh, let me change that. And then it just got away from me, that whole sumbitch.
Were
Yeah,
you
but
high
Chris-
then? Were you high then too?
the bigger
Probably.
the bigger problem with this, guys, is last time I was on your show. Last time I was on your show, Rob, you said pariah, and I go, yeah, he is a bit of a pariah. Then Jimmy calls me the next day and he goes, so I'm a pariah, huh? I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing, isn't it? And he's like,
Yeah, he's thinking
no.
it's a good thing.
So
Again,
I'm like, Jimmy, you don't know what you're talking about. So then I Google pariah, and obviously pariah isn't good. So
right.
you got me in trouble. You got me in trouble.
Right. I'm teaching him the audio on Messenger, and I'm teaching you the definition of pariah. I'm the one that needs the help, guys.
Wait a minute.
You know what, Monty?
Definition. I don't even know. I didn't look it up.
Before we started tonight's show, Monty, you were right up here, buddy. And after what you just said, oh, dude.
Wait a minute. Let me just add this in, Rob. When I'm at work, I go like this.
Okay, that brought you up to about here.
You don't type with 2 fingers.
Oh, God. What are we talking about, boys? What are we talking about tonight? What do we got going on?
Well, you know, I'm really pretty open to anything right now. I feel like people really liked our Hogan conversation. They also really got a kick about how all of our ADD combined had a really hard time staying on topic.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Monty should donate to Dutch Mantel's GoFundMe. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what?
I am. And
not.
Again, I'm going to reiterate that if Dutch should just shave his back and bag each piece of hair, he would be able to pay for his outlandish medical bills. But then again, Rob donated to Dutch. He felt bad for him.
Don't worry about it. But since we're on that topic, every show lately I've had to at least say this. Fuck you, Dave Meltzer.
Yes.
Fuck your good luck troll with short hair looking ass right in your fucking ass.
Nice.
Listen,
I agree with that.
No, but we're talking about Meltzer. Give the guy a little bit of credit.
No.
He made a career out of talking and writing about pro wrestling, dude. I mean, do you know how hard that must be? And this guy made a living out of it?
Well, the problem with Meltzer is not whether or not he made money off it. That's obvious. The problem with Meltzer is that he's the National Enquirer who gets treated like Webster's Dictionary. That's the problem. There are a certain portion of the fan base, and mostly the portion that's put money in his pocket for decades now, that feeds into his nonsense. And it is most of the time proven to be nonsense. Do you know how many times he's trashed our favorite, by the way, getting back to Hogan? Do you really give a crap what Dave Meltzer thinks about Hulk Hogan?
I don't give a fuck what Dave Meltzer thinks about Rain.
If there's a pocket of people in this world, and there's a kabillion of us that have given him success, I get that part, but I don't go for the Webster's Dictionary guy. He's the National Enquirer to me. His word carries no weight with me.
None.
He's one of them, right? That's my deal with him.
And the thing about him is, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, I give him that. He's made money. What Monty just said.
But the thing about that is the amount of money and kind of fame and stroke that Meltzer gained over his career. And I hate this to quote Spider-Man, but with that kind of power comes a lot of fucking responsibility, and he doesn't wield any responsibility. So he throws out any piece of National Enquirer bullshit he thinks he'll read.
His greatest ability is to have continued to survive where he doesn't have clout anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think he has any clout. I think he has a name, and he's still able, Mike, to his credit, business-wise, he's able to make that work. Well, even though he doesn't have the pull he had years ago. No way.
He's been paid by AEW for quite a while, right? So
yeah, but what is that at the end of the day? You and I both laugh at AEW.
A tax write-off. That's what it is. It's they got a deduction for giving Meltzer.
Did you see AEW's payroll? John Moxley's making like $8 million a year.
They're overpaying.
What?
They are.
Could you imagine John Moxley? $8 million a year.
No wonder nobody wants to go back to Vince.
I'm sorry, Mike. By the way, isn't that what Seth Rollins currently makes? 8?
Yeah, it's like 8.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous for the draw that Rollins is and the merchandise seller that Rollins is and the legend and the top company in the world. You want to play for the Yankees, you play for the WWE. Period. Period.
Yeah,
Every wrestler who tells you with a straight face that it's not their dream to fucking wind up in the WWE and WrestleMania is lying to you.
Jimmy, I would agree with you, but I think what Rob says, they don't want to go back to the WWE, right? Because you're making all this money to do nothing.
For a limited schedule.
I guess you're right, but why would that be the company that the purists, the so-called purists, root for then? When it's a bunch of WWE retreads totally overpaid. The only time they really ever eclipsed 1 million views was when Punk was there. Their death blow was Punk coming back home. Period.
A true purist,
NXT
though,
is outrating them now.
Right.
Nobody's talking about it.
A true wrestling purist, though, would not support AEW over WWE.
Right.
The very nature of a purist is to respect the king, to come with the purity of what they brought us.
I can tell you for a fact, just because working in the hobby industry not that long ago and doing it for many years, I'm around a lot of younger pro wrestling fans. And the younger pro wrestling fans, there is a bunch of them that watch AEW because they think WWE is too circusy and too Vince McMahon-y and too showy. They do. There are those fans, and they're younger. I've talked to them, and I laugh at them. I always tell them what direction their company's headed in because to me, it's like TNA. I look at TNA. That's what I see. I think it's an insult to WCW to even compare AEW to WCW.
Well,
WCW was major, major, major. This is not major, major, major.
WCW. They spend just like WCW.
Yeah,
they do, but they're having a TNA end result.
Guys, we actually discussed this last night. The Rock does this gimmick of wanting Cody's soul, right? Yeah. And then he goes on a scrum, and all scripted. Me and Cody are in the back drinking.
Right.
Again, once you start doing that, then AEW's got value now to me, right? And and honestly, Jimmy, the TNA you're talking about is the TNA. This new TNA seems to be a bit different. They seem to be getting some, getting some traction here.
Well, my comparative with TNA, I'm obviously talking about the days on Spike TV where they had Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Look, they were doing something decent, and AEW briefly in their early first couple of years had something decent going on. Nothing to write home about long term because they were taking WWF names. Let's face it, the company was built on who? Cody. Where'd he come from? And then Moxley, where'd he come from? Jericho, where'd he come from? Look, it's WCW all over again to a certain degree, but its success level doesn't touch with. Look, WCW was on top.
Well, no, I agree with you.
I mean, on top for how long too? What's the name of Bischoff's program? How many weeks? AEW is not in that conversation.
Well, yeah, but if AEW,
didn't we just see Christopher Daniels blading himself, punching himself?
But if AEW had the Turner broadcast machine showing them like WCW did, I don't think you'd have the same attitude about it right now.
What you're telling me is there's no Bischoff, and guess what? There isn't. It's Tony, the fan, with Daddy's money.
Fanboy.
There's no Bischoff in the room. Bischoff might have been a yes man for Hogan, but he was smart enough to be a yes man for Hogan.
I don't even think you can compare it because TV and consumption of products, whether it be professional wrestling, baseball, football, comedy, whatever, streaming is taken over. We can't even talk about cable. Listen, again, I don't know. Tony Khan's company is not publicly traded, so he can't. It does not have to open the books. We're only assuming as fans that he's losing money. I have no idea if he is or not. Right. I would tell you, do I like the product? Not really.
If he's giving Moxley $8 million, he's losing money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Mike, what do you think he's worth over there? What would you say?
Tony Khan?
No, Moxley. What would you pay him to stay there?
I would
8 instead of 8. Would you give him 2? Would you give him 4?
Again, I can't even go with what I think because when they signed Mercedes Moné, I thought it was a huge signing. I also thought when they signed Saraya or Page, I thought that was going to be huge, and neither one of those are moving the marker either. So, You know, what do I know? I have no idea. I have no idea.
I knew they wouldn't.
Who's really worth the money? Really, in my opinion, is CM Punk and Roman Reigns. And probably Jey Uso, unfortunately, who I don't get, but everybody else in the world gets, right?
I don't see Moxley's a big name, though. I don't see him as the fucking top guy. You're paying him $8 million for what?
Who okayed that deal? Like, who in their accounting and legal and everybody said, this is a good ink? Who approved that?
I would take it, though.
$8 million.
Their biggest problem is their creative. They have the resources. They have the money. It's their creative, and that goes back to Tony Khan. Where is what WCW did? Where is their Goldberg? Their homegrown... Dude, I had a Goldberg shirt. I ain't going to lie. I thought Goldberg was like...
WCW was a lot older than AEW before they started popping out Goldberg.
At least there was a Goldberg, is what I'm trying to get at here. At least there was a Goldberg. At least there was a Booker T. You know,
guys, real quick before I make us sound stupid. He's making $6 million a year, so I apologize.
Okay, all right. Either way, it's too much money.
God damn it, Monty! Your stock just keeps going down. I rely on you, dude.
But again, I agree with Chris. $6 million is way too much. You know, it's just.
Is he like 3?
Are you asking me?
He feels like a 3. Is what I'm saying.
He feels like a 1. I think that for the schedule you carry,
that company, he's not a 1.
Well, we're asking what we think he's worth, not what the company thinks he's worth.
Right.
The company thinks he's worth $6 million.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to talk about what he should be making. I just know $6 million is way too much.
Way too much.
Huh?
Way too much.
Let me ask you this: Mercedes Moné making $3 million a year.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Her mouth alone, she should be released.
I don't blame them.
I would release her. She's ridiculous. She is not a good look.
I want to hear from the boys. What do you think? $3 million?
Too much.
Yeah, no. I think I'm with the pariah here. I think she needs to go.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You know, she's I'm not a fan.
You're going to insult me when I know where you live. That's very smart of you, Rob.
She is a talented wrestler, though. She's had some great matches with Charlotte Flair. Fantastic matches.
But she's also been a locker room head case and a problem, right?
Yeah, she's an issue. She's an issue.
So that's why I say, I'm not saying she can't work. She can wrestle. And by the way, real quick, Pharaoh, I've never been accused of being smart. So if I don't make a smart move, it happens. I'm ready to deal with the consequences.
You're just like the bumper sticker. I hope you don't get rear-ended, though. That would be rough.
It might be a good time. Depends on who's rear-ended me.
Whoa. Kamala?
Oh, Jesus.
Tensions are high. Tensions are high in this room, folks. Tensions are high.
I can feel it, man. I can feel it.
Oh, boy.
Well, now all of a sudden somebody wants Kamala to fuck me. I
hear Halloween music playing in my head. I hope that doesn't unsettle anybody. Go on.
I hear Looney Tunes, so I'm with you.
Oh, that's awesome. In a way, are you going to blow yourself up live tonight? Please.
I want to watch that.
No, I think that would have to be behind a paywall for that.
So who in your guys?
Hold on to your boyfriends.
All right, let's do a quick round robin. I'm going to name them and tell me if they're worth the money they're making. I'm not going to go over what they're making. Is Roman Reigns worth what they're paying him? We're assuming that, whatever. Do you think he's worth what they pay?
How the fuck can you only answer half a question?
Well, what's he being paid?
All right, now you're going to make me look it up. You guys are ass.
I'm just saying, you can't be. What if Roman Reigns only makes $20?
Wasn't he, Mike? We went over this not that long ago.
Hey, Monty.
Yo,
I'll answer it. Yes, I think he is. He's a top guy there.
Here's a scary thing, guys. This is not very nice. $5 million.
No,
get out of here. He makes less than Moxley.
No,
that's
that
wrong.
Can't be right, Mike. That can't
be right.
I could have
annual. It says Roman Reigns is one of the highest paid athletes in the WWE with an annual salary reported at $5 million. Now, remember, $5 million does not include merchandising sales,
right? Pay-per-views.
So he's probably somewhere around 10, 11. Who knows? You know what I mean?
I could have sworn that we had heard 11, and that would make a lot more sense.
11 would probably be with merchandising, Jimmy.
But it goes to show, though, how overpaid Moxley is if he's even in the conversation.
That's absolutely.
Absurd.
Absolutely. I honestly think that Roman Reigns is maybe not the greatest worker in the world, but he's got the look and he's got the charisma. And if he is the top dog in the top company, then he should be making the top money.
Let
He
me ask
should
you,
not be making less.
He draws.
Rob and Chris,
money.
let me ask you this. You just said
Right.
Rob, he's not a great worker. I will argue with you on this. Roman Reigns, when he had this run, we pretty much knew like he's not going to lose the belt, right? But every match he would have, you would think he was going to lose the belt. To me, that makes a pretty solid worker. No matter who he was against, you're like, holy shit, he's going to lose his belt. He's going to lose tonight. You know, from Finn Balor to whoever. You know, honestly,
but that's just how you draw money. Anybody at a wrestling school can do that. Anybody at a wrestling school should know that if I'm going over, you're getting over. I'm going to make you look like $1 billion fucking bucks.
See, Rob, and I know you've wrestled and stuff, so I don't say it disrespectfully. Not anybody can just do what Roman Reigns does or what Hulk Hogan did.
But no, that's not what I'm saying.
No. What I'm saying is that Roman Reigns, and I'm just compounding what Mike was getting at with Roman. Roman Reigns is what Hulk Hogan was, and in his generation, one of the best at it, because you can't accidentally have a 4-year storyline that works.
Right.
Roman Reigns in the ring was not Bret Hart or Kurt Angle. Roman Reigns was a great storyteller, and he did make you think, oh shit, he's going to lose. And he would slip out the back door almost like a little bit of a nod to a Ric Flair. What a sneaky bastard. He got away again. Great storyteller. And not everybody can just do that. That's my only point, bro. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, but yeah, my point is I'm not comparing some douchebag out of wrestling school to Hogan or Reigns or Rock or Austin. I'm just saying that if you are actually correctly trained, the first thing that should be on your mind is, oh, I get to go over tonight. So I got to get you the fuck over because I don't want you to lose value so we can do this again next weekend.
Right.
But you know that doesn't always apply, though, Rob.
No, you're right. You're right. I got away from myself, but I was just backing up the
kicks
point.
Vader in the face and says, "Fucking, I'm not working with you, you fat fucking. You smell funny and you're too rough, and I want you out of here, Vince. Get rid of him." Oh well, all right. See, that's one of the mistakes.
Well, goddamn, pal, I guess you're fired.
So that's one of the mistakes Tony Khan made with Punk. You have Punk in the locker room. You got a meal ticket. Who gives a shit what the Young Bucks have to say? You tell them step the fuck back and stay the fuck away from them. The end.
Them and Kenny Omega, all three of those fuckheads.
Take
these guys were
control of your locker room like Vince would do.
These guys were executives. They weren't wrestlers. They weren't road agents. They were company executives assaulting their number one guy. And Tony Khan is such a brilliant businessman that he went and took the side of his executives over his money. Well, guess what, Jack? If he's not bringing in those numbers, how are you paying these three douchebags way more than they're worth?
Right.
Well, that's what happens when someone has a ton of money. Listen, I never asked you guys this because we never got the opportunity. I got to ask you, what are your guys' thoughts on the whole Vince McMahon allegations and Janelle Grant? What are you guys thinking?
We had 2 whole shows about this. Me?
Oh, why you go?
Both of you. Let's I want to hear it.
You know what? I think it's fucking bullshit because she participated. She took a fucking payout, and now all of a sudden, years and years later, oh, she wants fucking money now, conveniently. So she participated. Is Vince a piece of shit in some ways? Yeah, of course. But shit like that goes on in a lot of different places, a lot of different industries. And she took the payout. She accepted what happened to her. That, call me heartless or whatever. She took her fucking payout. So that's my take on it.
1000% agree. That's really what it breaks down to. The acts were depraved and horrific and disgusting to some people, and to some people they were just hot and they're gonna fucking spank one out to the idea. But the fact of the matter is, he said, I will give you this much money if you fuck off. She took it and fucked off until she ran out of money. And now she's back. So I 1000% agree with Chris.
Hey, Rob,
go ahead.
Oh, no, I'll add on to that. So the Harvey Weinstein guy, the producer, right, that is doing time. These actresses fucking knew what the game was. They performed acts to get into a fucking movie.
Yeah, but
They knew
wait.
exactly.
Here's where I'm going to argue with you.
He's
on
a
this
piece of
one,
shit, though. I will say that.
But here's the difference, though. He was using his power like you were working for me, Chris, and I'm like, you sleep with me, and if you don't, I will blackball you. So you're kind of not given a choice then if you want to be a famous actress or a famous actor. This isn't the same thing as Vince, right? Vince didn't use his power on the girl. In fact, the girl went and found Vince first. She was living in the same building he was in. So it wasn't like he said to her, "If you don't screw me, you're gonna lose your job, or I'm not gonna." What he paid her, whatever else. Here's a car. Now go fucking fuck John Laurinaitis, right? Okay, I'll do it. Why not? But with the Weinstein thing, it's a bit different, right? It's like, hey man, if you want to be in this movie, you have to fuck me.
If you want to be in this business,
yeah, that to me that's not right. That's not.
But it's still not criminal, right? It's still not a criminal act.
But it's not a criminal act, but it is something you should be sued for, right? That's like if you work for me just in a regular job, man,
right.
and I tell you to do something and you don't want to do it, and then I start punishing you. That's something out of work limits, right? And then I start punishing you. No employee should have to go through that. You know what I mean? Now, if you're questioning the fact that the woman or a man slept with him because they did want to be in the movie or they did want to be famous, now that's a morality issue, right? You chose your fame, and in some cases, that does make you a whore. You know what I mean? But I just don't put them on the same level. But let me ask you this thing. Jimmy and I have had problems with Mario Mancini. We covered it a little bit last time I was on there. I got to ask you this question again. If you know about Rita Charlton, she goes to Mancini and Andre the Giant and says, Vince McMahon just raped me. Is Mario Mancini culpable for not reporting that, even though Rita Charlton said don't say anything? And then my next question to you guys is, and then I'll get off my soapbox, is you have a right 25 years later to start talking about it and acting like you're better than because you didn't report it. Long-winded question, but what do you think?
Well, that really breaks down to what is it you're asking? Are you asking if he's legally or morally culpable?
Right.
Because it depends on what state you're in.
I would say both, though, right? Because you've let a crime, you didn't report a crime, one, even though someone told you not to report it. And then two, morally, like you didn't do anything. You knew rape is wrong. And then to go talk about Vince McMahon 25 years later and talk what a piece of shit he was. It's like, and what a rapist he was or whatever else he claims to be. Isn't that a little ridiculous?
Two parts to that. So, two parts. At that time, Mario Mancini was thinking about his fucking self. At that point, and years later, Mario Mancini is still thinking about himself.
Right. It's the timing. You see, it's the circumstantial. It's the circumstantial evidence that, to me, on the moral issue, completely hangs him. Because when he needed to say something, he said absolutely nothing for your aforementioned reason there, Chris, and it's bullseye. And all of a sudden, and if you notice the timing of when he started to really start chirping again, was when Vince had been removed from the company and is now an old man who pets 9 cats a day. So it was like, okay, I can come out now and I can go make my money. So yeah, to me, it comes across as insincere. And, you're trying to stay relevant. Nice job there, man, Weenie.
Why is he petting 9 cats though? Why is it like not 10?
He likes cats. I had 9 at one time. What's the problem? Yeah, meowing.
Fuck
what about you, Rob?
Let me pose this question to you then.
Yeah.
If I came to you and said, Monte, Pharaoh raped me.
What?
Okay.
You keep talking like that, I'm going to reach for the cutlery. What are you talking about? Why the hell would I rape you? Of all the men in the world, and I'm not even that way, why would it be you? What is wrong with you?
First,
this is hypothetical.
I'll answer that.
I'll answer that, Rob.
I'll answer that.
Liberal.
First,
I am not going to be touching your buttocks. So come up with a better example.
First reason I mentioned you was
minding my own business.
Because you're Monte's partner, right? So it hits closer to home when if I would have said, "Hey, Monte, Chris raped me," he said, "Go do your own laundry."
Well, I fucking raped you. Same question.
And now, hold on. My follow up.
Cats that raped you.
My answer to the second question is, why would you rape me? Are you looking at me? I'm the sexiest motherfucker in this room.
I can't see you. Get out of here.
So, Monte, if I came to you and said, the Pharaoh brutally and horrifically raped me, are you now obligated to call the police? Or might you say,
no,
but did Pharaoh really rape him? Well, did that really happen?
So the question, if you came to me and said he raped you, I'd say, why are you telling me this? Right? No, I would say, why are you telling me this? And you'll say, I have no friends, right? Chris has abandoned me because he knows I like that type of stuff. And he's moved on. So at that point, I would say, okay, I understand your quandary. And then I would say, what would you like me to do? And then you would say, don't say anything because I'm embarrassed. And then I would still say, since you told me,
I'm embarrassed. Go on.
Since you told me, I'm gonna have to report it. And then I would call Jimmy on his cell phone and go, dude, what the fuck? What's going on there? Jimmy would be like, he's good.
Yeah, I raped him. He looked good.
He feels
good. God damn.
Mike, I was hoping you would go in a more realistic approach where you'd basically be calling me and going, all right, so where again is that hole we're going to dig in Hoboken?
Honestly,
why Hoboken? You can't give me somewhere nicer than fucking Hoboken.
Yeah. The problem is Jimmy knows I'm lying because Jimmy knows exactly. I would probably call Jimmy and go, what the fuck's going on? And Jimmy would be like, I don't know. I lost control. And I'd be like, bro,
I lost control.
Got to get this is hypothetical, Jimmy.
Oh, you're definitely aiding and abetting the bullshit hypothetical. Please continue.
Well, but and then at that point, we'd probably say, okay, Rob's professionally trained. We got to figure out a way to take him out.
Well, I wouldn't obviously have Chris get in my back, motherfucker.
No, we'll hire
maybe
he'll give him a glass of lemonade.
Chris is gone. Chris is already embarrassed by you, Rob, at this point. He's done.
Yeah,
he's like, this is an embarrassment. What happened here?
Yeah.
How did me taking a hypothetical and trying to further on a conversation turn into a fuck Rob in the butthole session? Jesus Christ.
Uh-oh, guys, he's catching on. We're going to have to change our game plan.
Yeah. I feel like a gang rape is really going to happen, and I played right into it.
On a serious note, man, if someone does report that to you, I think you do have a moral and legal obligation to report it and say you should not tell me that, because now I have to report it. You have now made me part of this whole situation. And
okay, but you can think immoral. You can't think legal, right? You can't say I think legally. You have to, because there are so many states where you don't have to just report an allegation. You're not required.
But a long time ago, someone told me, when it comes to the law, no one knows anything. So you know what? Then you just stand on what you think is right? And meaning that, hey, you know what? If I don't report it, I don't know what the state says. Let me go Google it, but I'm not so sure if Google's right. Let me call my friend Jimmy. Not so sure Jimmy's right. No. Better just go to the police department and report it so you don't, aiding and abetting, right? Because you don't want to get caught into that whole thing. And considering today's world, Rob, if I didn't report it, then 2 days later, you're calling Chris and going, it wasn't just Jimmy, it was Mike too. Oh, gosh. And then all of a sudden, now I'm part of it. And then we're in a whole nother planet.
Because I'm a bitter little girl. I'll tell you, if I don't get my way, everybody raped me.
Here's the problem. Me and Jimmy don't have any money, so we can't pay you off. So now we got even a bigger problem.
I just want a microphone, damn it.
Oh, good stuff, man.
Hey, Chris, thanks for getting my back, by the way, partner. I appreciate you, asshole.
It was assholes that started all of this, and I'm not interested in yours. Now move on.
Okay, fine. Moving on. Mike, we're apparently going to abandon your point, the conversation we were rolling on, because the pariah doesn't like it. So move on.
What? He doesn't like anal talk. He's never been into anal talk.
I'm a parasite, not a pariah. Get things straight.
No.
Come on.
You are the Pharaoh, damn it. You are an Egyptian.
Let me ask you guys this though, and I like
cats.
I have a real question I've always wanted to ask you guys.
A real question, and it's the polar opposite of a fake
Both
question.
of you guys trained as professional wrestlers. When it first started, did you guys have aspirations of like being a famous wrestler,
Of
or
course.
so? Can you share that thought process? Because it is amazing. And then at what point does the dream go away, and then what's your feelings afterwards?
That's a good question.
Who's going first? You want a Rochambeau for it or what?
All right, let's go Rochambeau, right?
Ready? Wait. Start over. I think we can do this.
So.
This might not work on web camera. 1, 2, 3, shoot. What you got?
I got
All right, so when I was dreaming about it, when I ran into and first met my other BFF, Doug, we were both aspiring someday to wrestle for the WWF.
And Doug didn't rape you, right?
No, Doug never raped me. He made love to me. There's a difference.
Jesus Christ.
We're back on this.
So we still had it, though, in our heads, literally up until the day we set foot in the ring, that it had to be kind of real, right? So we better learn how to wrestle for real. We better toughen up. We better fight. We better get ready. Because, okay, we know who's going to win. We figured that out. But they're really out there beating on each other. Because we didn't understand at the time that when these dudes are at the top of their game, it looks absolutely real, right? And when they're really shooting, they're really fighting, that's when it looks like a work. So that was it. So then we broke into the business and moved up the ladder. And after a while, I think my dreams of WWE didn't necessarily fade as much as I was disgusted by the whole company the more I learned about it from the dudes who'd been there. And then I was just happy where I was at. And maybe, getting on some TV gigs around the way, wherever I can go. But I kind of started losing I want to be a WWF superstar, and was more concerned with what kind of good can I do for wrestling in California.
That's a good answer, man.
Thank you. I didn't know you were capable of saying anything nice to me, so I appreciate that.
Oh, I got at least show one. Be nice to you at least once during the show.
All right. I'll take it.
Is that over now? We can get back to normal?
Yeah, back to normal.
All right, Chris, your turn. What's your answer?
I had aspirations to be in WWF, WCW, one of the big two. I always wanted to wrestle 60 minutes against Ric Flair. That was my dream. And so I decided to get in business, and I knew it was hard work. I knew it was fake determined, but I knew, hey, there's definitely some physicality to this business, and you have to, work hard. And it was great as I progressed through the ranks and did a few TV gigs and worked some really good names. My aspirations becoming, working the WWF or WCW kind of dwindled away because I saw the business as this business can fucking hurt you bad. And a lot of the wrestlers, it doesn't really end well for a lot of them unless they're very, very fucking smart. So that gap was not very big. And I was like, and so after 10 plus years, I stopped.
Well, wrestling is just like all the major sports when you really think about it. It's really no different. Sure. There's so many pro football players we never even really hear of or remember. A lot of the 53 guys are special teams guys or whatever. They play 3 to 5 years, they're gone.
Yep.
It's the same thing in professional wrestling. It's really a very tiny hole you're striving for. It's the same thing as being a musician and trying to get on a record label or something. You're shooting for the moon. You're hoping for the best. But it's got to be rough when you realize it. I mean, for me as a musician, when I hit 30, I looked in the mirror. I had done a lot in New York. I had done everything you could do in New York. I'd been to the front door of Polydor Records. I played CBGBs. I did everything you're supposed to do. But when I looked in the mirror at 30, I was like, okay, time to face reality. The reality was, and Mike knows this, ageism is a real thing, and in the record business, it's a very real thing. When you're in your 30s, don't plan on being signed by, Warner Records or Polydor or whoever. You're not going to get signed. They're looking for 20-somethings. They want the next Greta Van Fleet. They're not looking for the next Fred G. Sanford.
Yeah.
And that's when the hair. It's the truth. That's when the hair got cut. All of a sudden, I was getting good jobs. When I was in my bands, the bands were the thing that was making the money, not the shit jobs I did during the day to make the band work. Then I stopped with the music, cut the hair. All of a sudden, I'm working in law firms and doctors' offices. I'm making twice the money, and it sucked. I would have traded it any day to go back to the being in the band and fucking having the shit job during the day and doing the thing by night. That was the best. So I don't know what the moral to the story is. I made more money and wasn't half as happy. I guess that's my story. When you hit the crash and burn after doing something. I had been doing it for over a decade. Mike, you saw some of it. It can't be.
Entertainment's a hard business.
It can't be easy, man. It can't be easy to love something to death, to know you've given it your all, and then have to deal with the fact that you were going up against a dream. And dreams are for the very lucky few. That's my take.
Absolutely, I agree. Luck of the draw.
But see, the thing is, I did get to live my dream. I didn't go to WWF, but I did get to live my dream. I wrestled top names in front of huge crowds, so it was great.
That's the point. That's why I said I would have rather have made half the money with the job during the day and done what I did with the band than to have the successful job. It was boring as fuck.
Because if you think about it, there are very few people walking this planet who get to say they did what they always said they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
One of the most ingenious things Jim Morrison once said was, "Did you have an interesting life when you died? Enough to base a movie on?" In his case, 27 years, but he really lived like 127 years in those 27.
And then when you do actually live your dream, you do earn some bragging rights, floating rights. And I'm just going to, while we're on this topic, when I was in school, every teacher in that school knew that I wanted to be a pro wrestler. Every teacher in that school supported me, except this one two-faced fucking bitch teacher who was like a science or something like that, who was like, "Oh, you'll never make it as a wrestler, ever." So I had gained some notoriety, and I went back up to my high school to give a speech about following up on your dreams. And when I was talking to these kids, I finally got to the point where people who are impactful in your life might look at you and tell you there's no chance you're ever going to be able to follow your dream. And I got to point at her. They are wrong. Don't you ever listen to them. I walked out of that school floating on a cloud because that was such a pain I got to remove from me. So I'm just really saying this for viewers, like, don't fucking never let nobody, especially people who are in positions that you're brought up to think you have to revere. Don't let them tell you you can't do what you want to do. Fuck them.
Oh, good point.
It's good conversation. Good conversation.
Rob feels cleansed to me right now.
What?
I have exorcised the demons.
Oh God. I think I saw you on Channel 9 at like 3:00 in the morning one time.
Stop. Yeah, that was me. Only once?
Are you Peter Popoff?
No.
By my holy water, Michael Monte. By my holy water.
Jesus wants me to have a new Corvette. Yes, Jesus wants you to buy us a plot of land so we can build a church. Yes.
The guy sells holy water and people buy it. I'm serious. There's like people like that on at 3 a.m. I'm telling you, they're out there.
Because there's no atheists in foxholes, Jimmy. That's why, man.
I keep trying to get Chris to get my back because I'm actually a minister and I want to start a stoner church, but he won't get with me on it. I don't know why.
You're a You're a minister of marijuana? What are you getting at?
No, I'm an actual legal registered minister.
I don't feel like being touched by you, Rob, so that's why I want.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Wow.
We'll call it the church. We'll call it the fucking Church of Raw, where all we do is come in, hang out.
Boy, okay.
Let the baked ones be with you, and also with you. Yeah, it'll be great, dude. We'll bake.
What do you give them like a toke? The body of Christ here. Take a
That's
toke.
Right. This is the Spirit of Christ. Here you go.
Wait a second. What do you do? Like sing that smell in the church? So take another toke. Have a blow for your nose.
I was thinking more like I smoke 2 joints in the morning, smoke 2 joints at night.
Okay.
Man.
Mike, are you going to this church? I don't think I'm going to this church.
No, not me, man.
No.
Pharaoh, I need a band, dude. I need you to come be my Meatloaf to my Steve Martin.
Pharaoh's attend church? I'm very confused. This doesn't sound right.
You guys are close. You guys should start a band. Start it over. Why not?
What? Call it what? Rubber band? I mean,
No,
what are you getting at?
call yourselves the Mario Mancini Band.
The Mario Mancini
How
Band.
about instead of Kiss, we'll call ourselves Piss?
That's
Piss.
terrible. I think
Piss.
that's awful.
Piss.
No, so we should call ourselves something demented like Bent Wrench, which is what you're going to have hit over your head, Rob, if you keep this up, because I know where you live.
Hey, oh, take it easy over there, okay?
Bent Wrench. Now touring. Bent Wrench.
Man, you don't want me to.
Our logo will be that hat that you're wearing with like a wrench indentation.
Here's the next
So
question.
you're back on the Steve Martin thing. So you're going to be my Meatloaf. I'll be the Steve Martin, and we'll go scam people.
Here's the next question. Who's the next pro wrestler to die?
What?
Me.
What kind of question is that? What is that? What are you, Rob Zombie? What kind of question is that?
Who's up next? Who's up next?
How the fuck would I know?
Who's the hard money on right now?
Jake.
Okay, if we're really going to throw it out there,
I say Jake.
Are we talking about big names like the next major? Everybody will know who it is.
Some indie star that no one talked about, right?
That's I would say Flair.
Colin Flair. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah. I say Jake.
Jake.
Oh no, I'm with you, Jake. Yeah, because Jake's doing real bad. I'm changing it.
Jimmy, who you got?
Well, it's funny. Flair will be like a Keith Richards. I think Flair will be like 80 and like smoking weed on a street corner and getting like 3 million YouTube views. Jake seems to make sense the most. But because life is the way it is, it's going to be somebody that we would never have thought of that doesn't make any sense. And so I don't know. You'd have to like name somebody that would be.
That's another good point. Are we talking natural causes or outside?
A complete left field surprise is what I think will be next.
Natural,
like,
whatever. Drugs, natural. All right, how about this one? I'm going to ask you guys this. So Jimmy and I are going to be featured on season 6 of Dark Side of the Ring. We're on the Tony Atlas episode.
Yeah.
We are on the Billy Jack Haynes episode, and I'm not sure we're on the Daphne episode. Do you guys watch Dark Side of the Ring?
I do.
No.
So Chris does. Rob, you don't?
I do not. No.
Why?
I do not like seeing the pain of my brothers and sisters being exploited for profit. That's why I told them to go fuck off for Beyond the Mat. I didn't ever pay to go to the theater and watch it. I watched it for free on TV. Anybody who is trying intentionally to spread my family's dirty laundry so they can make a buck, and I know the wrestlers are making a buck too. I'm not saying Dark Side of the Ring is necessarily wrong for doing it, because the names know it's happening and they're getting compensated for it. Just I personally don't like our laundry being thrown out to the world. Why do you want to take these people who through the 80s and 90s were brought up as superheroes, and then now that they're old and broken, you're going to now slaughter those memories? This is who they really were. I don't like it.
Bro, first of all, you just went by. Were you going to be on Beyond the Mat?
They asked me if I wanted to make some comments about anything, any of the guys that I knew, and I was like, I'm not doing anything with you. I'm not stupid.
Did either of you guys work in California with that fat guy?
Which fat guy?
On Beyond the Mat. What was his name? Ronald or something like that?
Fat guy.
Oh, I don't even remember who it was. It was somebody on the phone.
Oh,
I was referred to them.
Roland, yeah.
Roland.
I trained there.
Yeah.
Oh my, Chris, you got to tell us a Roland story, dude.
Oh fuck yeah, dude, roll with it. But I will watch the episodes that you guys are on. I will watch those.
He was a typical carny. I'll leave a fucking typical carny, always trying to work you. And the guy had fucking narcolepsy, so he'd be sitting there talking to you, and all of a sudden he'd just fucking conk out.
That is sick. Dude, you guys should do a full episode on that thing. Go ahead, Chris. I got to hear more. Go ahead.
No, he'd be out and he'd fucking wake up. So what do you know?
But like he wouldn't. But if he was in, he would fall asleep in mid conversation for like 4 or 5 seconds, and then he'd snap back, and the next word in the conversation was what came out. Like he didn't realize he just went out.
Dude, that is like, it's so amazing, all these backstories that you don't even know about wrestling. Because me and Jimmy are just fans. You guys were in the biz, so it's like we know shit. When we hear these stories, are like, this is crazy. So you got Mick Foley's Hell in a Cell match is the first episode, then Big Van Vader, then Tony Atlas, Ludwig Borger, Billy Jack Haynes, Eddie Gilbert, Superstar Billy Graham, Daphne, the original Sheik Ed Farhat, and Muhammad Hassan, which I don't know why he's in this, but
because of his character, he got blackballed due to political heat.
So there's nothing that any of you guys are interested in this episode?
I would watch all of them.
I hate that they're doing one on Daphne. I hate that.
Why?
I won't watch that because her ending was full of so much genuine pain. And so many of the people who loved her knew she was about to do it and they couldn't reach out to help her or stop it. And that should not be exploited, God damn it. She didn't sign off on that.
I want to interrupt you with this one. When they knew it, was it because she was live on a video with a gun to her head?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. So my question is, where were they before this? That's my question.
You know, if somebody is really dealing with, and I can really get into this because I've go so far back on the drug addiction. When somebody is really dealing with a mental illness, you're not going to know it until they want you to know it. And she was obviously, I believe, keeping it secret for career reasons, for just popularity. She wants to keep herself as this bubbly, happy person that everybody fucking loves. And when she finally snapped and went over the edge and did that video, everybody panicked. So where were they before? They were her friends. But you don't know there's a problem until you know there's a problem. And they didn't know until it was too late.
Yeah, but
and all that being said, she didn't sign off on this. That's why I have a problem.
I understand, but Rob, I guess my point is this. If you really aren't in contact with someone, you're really not their friend. You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
You're an acquaintance, right? You're my acquaintance. We don't talk every day. I don't check in on you every day. And the reason I say this, I'm not saying anybody did anything bad, but it brings me back to the China documentary, right? Mick Foley goes and sees her at some signing and then brings her to the house. And then he talks about how broken she was. And then Foley said, I should have paid a little more attention, right? At least he was honest. My whole point is this. I just don't think you're really friends with someone. You could have been friends when you were together 10 years ago and then you separate. But I don't think you're ever really, truly friends unless you talk all the time. You're around each other all the time. Again, we all live in different states. That could be something different. So it just annoys me with the friend thing. Like, I wish I could have helped. No, you don't. You just wish you could have helped in that moment, right? You just didn't know. You didn't care enough before. That's all I'm saying.
But you can't say they didn't care enough before. You can't be inside their head and speak for them. All right, I've got good friends all over the country. I don't talk to them every day. That doesn't mean we're not friends. We're just acquaintances.
It doesn't make you good friends, though, Rob. To be honest, you're friends. Maybe.
But you're the one who keeps interjecting good friends in. What I was saying was it affected her friends. It affected her fans. It affected people who cared about her, how much pain the end of her days were. I mean, Christ, I see these. I'm in these Facebook groups dedicated to wrestling. And a couple of them still have a banner with her picture and the rest in peace of.
I guarantee on this episode, Rob, they're going to have a whole bunch of wrestlers that go, I just wish I would have checked in on her more. She was so close to her. She was such a good lady, blah, blah, blah. Here's the reality of it. Is you weren't close enough with her to really be that close, right? You're sad she took her life. You're sad she had these issues. It upsets you, but in reality, it wasn't that important. That's all I'm trying to say. And I'm not trying to put down anybody. Right. That's just my opinion. Right? I don't know, Jimmy, Chris, am I wrong?
I got something. So, yeah, I think people just get so wrapped up in their lives that they're into themselves for the most part. It's not they don't care. It's just they're got their own shit going. And yeah, they haven't talked to somebody for years. I got lots of people I haven't talked to for years.
Right.
Doesn't mean I don't really care about them, but Jamani's point, are they good friends or friends? Well, people phase out, right? And eventually you become kind of like acquaintances. You talk to them. You might send a message to them on Facebook, like, "Hey, I like your picture, your kid or something, or whatever the fuck it is." But it's mainly I mean, I can probably, most of my friends on Facebook are probably acquaintances. Maybe 5 or 10, maybe 15, 20 people are friends.
Life gets in the way of everybody, right? And all I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is it bothers me when people like I'm going to expect with the Daphne thing. So I understand where Rob's coming from, but it's like you it couldn't have been that caring. Jimmy, what do you think? Am I wrong here or what?
I think that at the end of the day, if somebody ODs or takes their own life, it doesn't matter how close you were. Look, when someone is that, like Rob was getting at, when someone is that far down a certain dark road, there are different ways that I've seen it happen to people where their lives end by suicide or overdose or whatever. And there's usually two paths that these people take. And one is where they do make it apparent there's a problem. But you can't be your brother's keeper 24/7. Like Mike Ram, for example. Mike, I mean, who did we have on? We had several of his friends on, and they expressed frustration. He said he was going to pop himself.
But those guys were around him the whole time. They were his
but they
friends.
weren't around him the whole time. At the end of the day, the person who gets down that dark road makes a decision that they make.
I think maybe I'm not.
And you cannot watch somebody
think,
24 hours
I think
a day.
I think I'm misspeaking.
That's why I don't judge.
I'm misspeaking on my thoughts. Chris and Rob are close, right? They talk. They do a show together.
Right.
Rob's in some deep hole Chris can't even recognize, or maybe Chris does, and he does his best to help him. But Rob takes his life, right? That's his close friend. That's his friend, right? But if Chris goes to Texas and he doesn't talk to Rob, or he just Facebooks him every so often, and whatever else, Rob takes his life 10 years later, a year later. Chris is like he's upset about it, but the reality of it is his life has moved on. Rob is just a chapter in his book. There's chapters in your book.
Yeah, but that's true. If I died tomorrow, I'd expect Chris to mourn me. It's like you're going to go on with your life.
Well, that's not what he's saying, though.
Thank you. Right. Go ahead.
I must have missed it. Everything froze up on me for a minute.
Go ahead, Chris. Tell him what I said.
No, basically, he's just saying, like we were friends, and then 10 plus years later, let's say we don't talk ever again, and then and then
and then I die, and then 10 years later, you pretend I'm caught up.
Yeah, it's just I've moved on. You're just back 10 years ago. You're a chapter in my life. Now I'm at this point in my life, and I haven't talked in years. And I'll feel bad, but
it's to me, it's a sad reality. And forgive me, but this is how I see this. Daphne, as a fan, as someone who just watched the program, as a fan, Daphne was a bit player on a big stage.
Sure.
I didn't really remember much about her or think about her much over the years. When she tragically passed away, Rob, I agree with you. I'm not always thrilled to know everything. I don't want every stone unturned. I agree with that. I don't need to know everything.
No, they're not just pulling the curtain back. They're tearing it down and burning it.
There are programs out there that do this, and I understand why they exist. Some people like to watch them. Mike likes to watch them. Chris likes to watch them. The end. Yeah. But here's my point, though. Sadly enough, the tragedy has made Daphne more notable. The fact that this program is being done are going to bring more eyes to Daphne's story. Now, is it exactly the way you want to hear it? I get it, bro. It may not be, but the bottom line is at least she's becoming remembered. It's sad, but she's becoming remembered more through the tragedy. And she wanted to leave something behind. Well, guess what? It's bad.
All right, so she doesn't have the fame, but she has infamy.
Well, she's getting it now. Isn't that sad?
That's right. She has infamy, and I'll even say this, and some people may be offended by this. If Bray Wyatt didn't pass away like he did, he would just be whatever. I'm telling you right now. He would have been just whatever.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't think that Bray Wyatt would have been a just whatever. I think that he had done enough where he was already going to, if he had lived out his life, wound up in the Hall of Fame and been one of the popular figures of his generation, which he was. Okay? But Bray Wyatt dying is equivalent to like Kurt Cobain dying in a weird way.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Like Kurt Cobain went into the Ascension, and Jim Morrison, here I go again with Jim Morrison. Death makes angels of us all, where we once had shoulders smooth as raven's claws. Think about that. The moment you're gone, if you're of note and you did something noteworthy, boom! If you go tragically, boom!
Yeah.
You just soar. Whether you're Johnny Rotten from the Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols, or your Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. You know, it's one of those deals, or your Jim Morrison from the Doors.
Well, but then you look at Elvis. Look how he looked when he went out, and he's still fucking Elvis.
Elvis went from being Hulk Hogan to Super Hulk Hogan when he passed away.
There's certain people that
you know, there's certain like John Lennon being shot with a horrible ending, but the Beatles
Yeah.
wound up undamaged musically. They're intact. We had no bad reunions.
How about
we had
Michael
no
Jackson?
lousy.
How about Michael Jackson? Just
Michael.
everything forgotten, forgiven, gone.
Yeah.
I know. A week prior, they're calling him Wacko Jacko. Then they're calling him a legend and a god and the king.
That's how simple it is.
Right.
Fuck.
Yep.
All right, guys. Look, we are like an hour into this, so we're gonna have to take this the fuck home. But we're definitely gonna have to do this again.
Great conversations as
with you
always.
guys.
Love them. Love these conversations, man. They're deep and they're not about wrestling. I love it.
All right, guys. What are you plugging today, sweeties? Let me hear it.
Sweeties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you got it. Go ahead, Jimmy.
What am I plugging? You're the plug guy. I'm plugging it.
Long Island's #1 broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen on New York cable by 150,000 people on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, and seen on all audio. And catch us on Season 6 in Dark Side of the Ring, where we're featured in an episode with Tony Atlas, Billy Jack Haynes, and possibly Daphne.
Oh, and Mike, I just got a text for next week. You can catch us on ESPN next Friday, Northwest Florida, 104.3.
Love it. Love my ESPN. I love our ESPN things. That's it, guys. Thank you again. It's an honor to be on your show.
Chris, you got anything you want to put over?
Fuck, I can't follow.
Psych!